Well, a jury here in D.C. is now deliberating the fate of former White House advisor Peter Navarro. After closing arguments wrapped in his trial, he's facing criminal charges after defying a subpoena from the January 6th committee. Navarro faces one count now for his refusal to appear for a deposition in front of the committee and another one for refusing to produce documents. Our investigative reporter Olivia Rubin has been tracking it all, joins me now for more. So, Olivia, Peter Navarro is now the second former Trump aide to be prosecuted for contempt. Let's just talk about his role here and how he folds into this entire story.
Well, Kira, remember that Navarro was a trade advisor to the former president, then the president at the time, but a close ally of the president. And some of the specifics that prosecutors say is that Navarro, as it relates to January 6th, had put together, a series of memos saying that the election had been stolen. He made a number of public comments about January 6th. So those were all factors as to why the committee wanted to speak to him. But really, Kira, remember what the committee was trying to do. They were trying to piece together every single moment around Donald Trump with the attack, with the efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. So as a top advisor, Navarro would have been someone that they absolutely wanted to speak to. He was, in the room. He was in the White House. So certainly they would have wanted to know what he saw, what he heard, what his conversations were, but that was not something they got, as they say, because he intentionally defied the subpoena, both for testimony and for documents.
All right, so the jury now deliberating after closing arguments. How soon do you think we could see a verdict?
Well, I think if we go based on how remarkably quick the trial has been, it could be pretty soon. The trial was very quick, Kira. It was essentially a day. It was on Tuesday that the jury was seated. They heard basically all of the evidence yesterday and some closings today, and now they have the case. So there's really not so much for them to parse through. They're really only working with, a couple witnesses and documents to sort through. So it could be very quick. I mean, I wouldn't even rule out that we could see a ruling from them today, just given how quickly the case went and how, simple the prosecution has told them that this case is. They've said it's not complicated. This is a simple case. It was a legal requirement for him to show up. This was not voluntary, and he did not do it. So they have certainly tried to make it a cut and dry, quick case here.
All right, and the DOJ sought these charges after that recommendation by the January 6th committee as well. That committee, as we've talked about, doesn't even exist anymore. So do you think this will factor into the case at all?
Not at all, Kira, because I think, like I just pointed out, what the key here is that this was a congressional subpoena. Congress was seeking information from Navarro, and as prosecutors said, it was not a voluntary request. This was a legal requirement that he had to do, regardless of the fact of if, at the time of the trial, the subpoena still is valid or not. They're saying at the time that he was supposed to go before the committee and turn over whatever relevant documents he had, he did not do that. And I think we've already seen an example of this. We've already seen Steve Bannon, another Trump advisor, convicted of this exact same thing. And it didn't matter then that the committee was already over. So I don't see why it would matter here today.
All right, one more question. We are learning, no surprise, Trump may seek to have the Georgia election interference case moved to federal court.
Yeah,
like fellow friends.
Exactly. Like fellow friends, he would now be, his legal team has notified the court essentially that he may seek this removal. It's sort of a precursor, so he hasn't actually sought to remove the case to federal court yet. But if he does, Kira, like you said, he would not be the first. He would actually be the sixth defendant in the case to try to get it moved to federal court. Of course, the most notable of those is Mark Meadows, his former chief of staff, who actually took the stand in his own evidentiary hearing, testifying for over 3 hours in his own effort to get the case moved to federal court, Kira. So it's not totally out of the realm that a request from the president could end up in the same situation where he has a hearing to prove the merits of his request out of state court and into federal court. And he could be faced with the opportunity again from his attorneys here to testify in his own defense there and try to get the case moved. So we'll have to see where that goes if he does file the request.
All right, Olivia, thanks so much.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.